Coming up in today's Leeds news, new Leeds home kit details linked, Harry Gray loan move, standout statistics from the Liverpool game, Farke Fumes at referee, and rumour mill stories on Castanelos, Joe Willock, Troy Parrott and Raykkonen. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View for the first video of 2026. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you've all had a fantastic Christmas and New Year period. Nice to have a nice result as well to start 2026 for Leeds United yesterday against Liverpool. Probably not the best watch in the world, but a very strong defensive display from Leeds United yesterday in that game. You can check out the match review from that with my thoughts on that game. I thought it was really, really good from lots of reasons. 6 games unbeaten now, 7 points clear of West Ham, who are making serious moves in the January transfer window. And we'll have our updates from Leeds' situation and clarify a few of the links that have already come out this week towards the back end of the video. You can check that out at the end of it. We'll start off today though with some interesting kit leaks for Leeds United for next season. It is that time of the year where football clubs start to decide what their new kits will look like for next season, and we've had some leaks start to come out around Leeds United. It's been relatively quiet from a Leeds United perspective. A lot of clubs have we've already seen a lot of their full kits that will be on display next season, but Leeds tend to keep their cards a little bit closer to their chest. But yesterday we did have some details start to leak out on a potential home design for Leeds next season. Footy headlines, as always, are the main source here, and they've got the details as they always tend to do, and they've got the details on what Leeds 26-27 basics of the kit could look like. This, by the way, on my left hand side is a rendering and a potential design, not an actual one, just to give you that detail. This is what Footy headlines have had to say on this. The kit manufacturer and the league, the Leeds 26-27 home shirt will be made by Adidas and worn in the 26-27 Premier League season, contingent on Leeds United remaining in the league. From a design details perspective, the Adidas 26-27 home jersey will feature horizontal pinstripes for the first time in Leeds United's club's history, using the new Adidas 26-27 template. On a release date, the new Leeds 26-27 home kit is scheduled to be launched either in May or late July 2026. That release date tends to lean to, if Leeds have confirmed their Premier League status, they may wear this in the final game of the season to try and increase interest in it to sell it over the course of the summer. If they don't stay in the Premier League and they get relegated, then it needs to be rebadged, renumbered and all that stuff, and it will likely then be released in late July. But Leeds have had pinstripes on a jersey before. It was when Admiral made the kit back in 2005 and 2006, the White and Mackay sponsored shirt from way back when. Not a great time in the club's history around then, but that was the last time they had it. And again, this is just a rendering of what you've seen on screen of what it could look like on the brand new Adidas template. So the collar shape of it will be the same as what you've seen there, and the Adidas badge size will likely be that as well. But outside of that, the rest of it is just someone's opinion on what it could potentially look like. But if you're into kits, there you go. I know I am. So it's an interesting one to keep an eye on, and credit to Footy headlines for the detail on that. Let's move on and talk about a potential loan exit from Leeds United. Now the January window is open and officially underway, and some clubs have already raced into action. Leeds are likely to look at some loans, but also some exits, and young players could be the ones that head out the door. One of those players is said to be Leeds United striker Harry Gray. Daniel Farke did confirm in December that the most likely exits for Leeds United in January will be the younger players to go out and get some experience and some minutes under their belt. A Leeds United insider has indicated that it is very possible that Harry Gray will go out on loan over the next couple of weeks. Derby County, Barnsley and a few other Championship and League One clubs are all said to have some level of interest in Harry Gray and bringing him in on loan. And the insider has said that it isn't implausible that Harry Gray will go out on loan. Again, Daniel Farke's comments earlier in December suggested that maybe one of the main players that looks to go out, and there is significant interest in Harry Gray at this point. There is interest from Premier League sides in Harry Gray as well, but from a very different perspective, to stick him in the youth teams for a couple of years and try and get a cheaper striker for them. But that won't be happening anytime soon after he signed his new contract at Leeds United. But yeah, if he's not going to play part of the Leeds United first team, it could be very good for his development and growth to send him to the Championship and let him get some experience in real competitive football against adults. I'd like to see him involved with the Leeds United first team, but he seems to be fourth choice at this point, and Joe Piroe is not even getting a sniff right now, and Leeds are potentially looking at another striker. So yeah, if he's not going to be around in the first team, get him out, let him get some experience and get those minutes in to help speed up his development and hopefully get him into the Leeds first team as soon as possible. Let's move on. Let's talk about some standout statistics from the Liverpool game. As always, thank you to LUFC Data, Johnny Cooper and our own Andrew Stats Dalton for these. We'll start off with a bit of an unbeaten run. Leeds have gone unbeaten in league season against Liverpool for the first time since 2000-2001 under David O'Leary. At that point, last night was the first ever goalless draw in 84 matches against Liverpool under Arne Slot. Leeds kept the first clean sheet at Anfield in 31 years, and that stretched back to April 1995, a 14-game streak. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored more goals than any other player in Europe's Big Five leagues in December. It's the first time that a Leeds United player has been the outright top scorer in a month across those leagues since Mark Viduka did it back in 2003 with 8 goals in April. Lucas Perry becomes only the 4th Leeds United goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet at Anfield. Jimmy Potts did it in 1932. Gary Sprake did it in 65, 69, 70, 71 and 1972. And John Lukic did it in 1980, 1992 and 1995. And on Sunday, it will be 8,514 days since Leeds last beat Manchester United in the Premier League. I mean, come on lads, this is the one. If ever there was a chance, this is definitely the one. And with Daniel Farke resting some players last night, maybe this could be the one where Leeds actually can get a win against Manchester United at Ellen Road. They've not been great this season. They've not been great on the road this season. Leeds have been very good at Ellen Road. I don't want to get carried away with myself, but this is the one. This is the one that I've been looking at anyway and thinking we can get something from this. Let's move on. Let's talk about Daniel Farke's reaction to last night. I think it's fair to say that referee Chris Kavanagh had a bit of a nightmare last night, and his decision to book Ethan Ampadu for not handling the ball has rightly annoyed quite a lot of people, including Leeds United manager Daniel Farke. Ampadu will now miss Leeds United's next game against Manchester United, and the Liverpool victim syndrome has been in full flight this morning, talking about the potential penalty decision where Yacobiol grabbed hold of Ekitike, but the referee played an advantage for a tap-in for Florian Wirtz, only for James Justin to make an incredible block. But from a Leeds perspective, there was more than just the Ethan Ampadu situation. Yacobiol received a yellow card for correctly marking out 10 yards after referee Chris Kavanagh attempted to push the Leeds wall back further than the allotted 10 yards. And when Biol walked out the 10 yards and showed the referee, he then received a yellow card. There was also then the incident where Anton Stach caught Szoboszlai with a bit of an arm, but the referee played on, and when Stach was fouled on the edge of the Liverpool penalty area, at that point the referee decided to go back to the head injury, and at that point he should have awarded either a free kick to Leeds or given the ball back to Leeds, as they were the side in possession when Szoboszlai went down with the head injury. The referee gave a drop ball to Liverpool, and there were countless very clear pushes in the back of Leeds players, and the referee seemed to be doing whatever Arne Slot asked him to do last night. But Daniel Farke usually avoids any kind of emotional reaction towards officials, but last night Farke couldn't help himself, and I don't think anyone would blame him. Speaking after the game last night, Daniel Farke said the following: "Delighted with a point, but I have to calm myself down. It was never a yellow card. Several situations that I'm struggling to accept today. He's a key player for us." Ex-FIFA referee Keith Hackett also believes that Ethan Ampadu was incredibly unlucky to receive a yellow card in that situation, along with other people who have talked about it that said that it wasn't a handball, it came off his shoulder. But Farke has indicated, though, in the good side of things, that Leeds United may have Sean Longstaff back involved for the weekend, that he is back in full training. But the decision to rest some players last night may have worked out in Daniel Farke's favour. Leeds getting a surprise draw, I think, when we all saw that team sheet last night, but it has worked in Leeds' favour. Sebastian Bornau was very good for Leeds United in his full Premier League debut, and Daniel Farke confirmed that he did go off with a bit of cramp, but he's not the only player that was struggling with a little bit of cramp last night. Players starting that game like Gruev and Justin, who just haven't played a huge amount of minutes for Leeds this season. James Justin, by the way, was voted as the Leeds man of the match and Sky's man of the match last night. He was excellent for Leeds United. It's given Leeds United manager Daniel Farke a real headache in that right back position, so an interesting one to keep an eye on. Let's move on and get into the rumour mill territory, and as always, take this with the appropriate level of scepticism and salt all over these, and I'll give you some detail on them. We'll start off with writing some of the links off that have been mentioned with Leeds United in the last couple of weeks and days. First one to talk about is Tati Castanelis. He was linked to Leeds United via Gazzetta dello Sport earlier this week, but he has now been confirmed as heading to West Ham United for £27 million, which is a huge amount of money for a player with a pretty extensive injury CV as well, and he'll take some time to adjust to the Premier League. Brennan Johnson, you can write that one off as well. It looks like he is all but done and dusted for around £35 million to Crystal Palace. From a Leeds perspective, incoming wise, there's a couple, potentially an outgoing as well. From an incoming perspective, Joe Willock, according to Northern football correspondent Mark Douglas, and he works for iPaper, he says that Joe Willock will be allowed to leave Newcastle in January if a right fee comes in for him. And Leeds United have been credited with having a long-standing interest in the attacking midfielder. Willock, though, has only played 13 games this season and has 1 assist to his name. Over the last 3 years, he hasn't played a huge amount of football. His best season at Newcastle came during the 22-23 season, where he clocked up 3 goals and 6 assists for them. Then the source on this one isn't particularly great. iPaper wouldn't be exactly what you would call an exclusive breaking news paper. So take that one, again, I'd say with a chunk of salt. On an outgoing one, Joe Piroe, there's some loose interest, according to some reports in the Netherlands, from PSV Eindhoven, but the bulk of the interest appears to be coming from the Championship. Birmingham City and Ipswich have both been credited with having levels of interest in Joel Piroe. Leeds United's stance on this, they would want to recoup the bulk of, if not more, of the £10 million that they spent on the Dutch striker if he does leave. But Daniel Farke has said that nobody is leaving in January, so unless Leeds get a replacement in, it's unlikely that he will go. But he isn't being used by Leeds United right now. He didn't appear again last night, so it does seem that Daniel Farke will tweak the system if he can't play Mecha and DCL together, rotate players. But it is an interesting one. We move on. Let's talk about Troy Parrott. This one's not going away. He's been mentioned again today, and the Daily Mail claimed that Leeds United have got real interest in the Irish striker Troy Parrott, and says Leeds recruitment team have told agents that they want players that can make an immediate impact. They're not looking at anyone that will need to come in and have some time to adjust to the league. They want someone to come in now and hit the ground running. They claim that Leeds' interest in Parrott is legitimate and is real. The issue here is the transfer fee. Leeds United have said that they will not be spending tens of millions of pounds in January on any player, and Azad Alkmaar want £26 million for Parrott. The Mail claimed, though, that Leeds would prefer to sign Parrott on loan with an option or an obligation to buy come the end of the season. And that would help Leeds circumnavigate the PSR situation. And by the time the summer comes around, the squad cost model will replace PSR, and that will be slightly more lenient towards Leeds United. There is a £30 million buffer they can use in the first 3 years of that to help them. It does seem unlikely unless there's some form of an upfront payment along with an obligation to buy the player. He doesn't fit the 6 foot plus type of striker. They may be looking at him as a second type of striker, or a second player like Noah Okafor in a double 10 behind DCL or Mecha, which Troy Parrott could absolutely do, playing off of somebody, or up front with a 2 as a sole striker. In the way Leeds are playing this season, he would fall back into the Joe Piroe bracket, but based on being one of the strikers to play off one of the big men, yeah, absolutely. But the fee's going to be a big issue there. So again, I don't know. I'm not convinced about it unless Leeds can manage to convince Azad Alkmaar to loan him with an obligation, but we'll have to wait and see. The other player to talk about, the last one today, is a youngster. And according to Lancel, as an exclusive, they claim that Leeds and Newcastle are interested in Brazilian teenager Raykkonen, who, yes, as the name suggests, was named after F1 driver Kimi Raykkonen. The 17-year-old is currently out on loan at Internacional, who have got a purchase option in the youngster as well. Sources in Brazil, according to Lancel, say that Leeds United are monitoring the situation of the young attacker as well as his contract situation. Reports in Brazil state that Flamengo, Grêmio and Santos are all interested in the player as well. Internacional are labelled as being the front runners to sign the player on a permanent deal. They do have a purchase option in him. He's a left-sided attacker. He's 17 years of age. He's right-footed. And in 6 games for the youth side from Internacional this season, he's got 3 goals and 3 assists. He's an exciting young prospect, an exciting young talent. There might be some work permit issues there for a player of that age coming to the UK. I'm not sure about that, but somebody else will correct me on that one if I am wrong. But it is a young, exciting, attacking Brazilian player. Plenty of interest in him. Might be one for next season or coming in for the summer window. Have to wait and see. But as of right now, International will be labelled as being the front runners on that one. It's an interesting story. Lancel are quoting an exclusive on this one. They've mentioned Newcastle, Leeds, again with a host of Brazilian sides. So we'll have to wait and see. Folks, that'll be it for me this morning with the news. There will be a transfer podcast out later on this evening. Andrea Russo is joining me to discuss some of the Leeds links, as well as having a chat around what Leeds United need coming into in the January transfer window. So anyway, that'll be it for me. You can check out the match review from last night. If you could stick a like on the video, that would be hugely appreciated as well. Hype it as well. And I will be back tomorrow morning for the news and later on this evening with the podcast. Talk to you later. See ya. Bye.